Greetings, my friends. Welcome once again to this edition of Art and Coffee, the video series dedicating to helping you find and forge your own unique voice in the realms of art and visual storytelling. As always, I am yours truly, Gabe Dunston, and I totally did not just spill some coffee on my hand as I said that. Speaking of coffee, today's coffee is the Antigua blend from the Oak City Coffee Roasters, from the Antigua region of Guatemala, bourbon variety beans. A smooth and sweet medium-bodied coffee with notes of black cherry and cocoa. Catch the aroma of chocolate and cherry blossoms! Exclamation point. So this is like this is my standby. This is my go-to coffee. This is number 3 on my list of favorite coffees. This is when my favorites aren't around. Usually the store that I go to, or one of the stores near here, definitely has this. So here we go. Medium bodied. That's definitely the word. This is the most medium coffee that I've got. Medium roasted, and the flavor is meh. I mean, it's good. Alright, enough about the coffee. Today's topic is not at all clickbaitily titled, The Truth About Drawing Every Day. So, the truth about drawing every day. Number 1, if you want to be an artist, draw every day. That's good for you. And I mean, it doesn't have to be drawings. If watercolor is your jam, cool, make sure you pull out a brush every day. But the truth is, I don't draw every day. B, most artists don't, not every day. And C, drawing every day kind of comes with this baggage of how much you have to draw before it counts. So here's what's up. I will begin by telling you why you should totally draw every day, why it's important. Because it's important to have a thing that you're running towards. It's important to have a goal and to understand why you do the thing you do. Because as Stephen Pressfield lays out in his book, The War of Art, which is a weird title we'll talk about later, the thing that stops you from being an artist the most is this concept of resistance. The little voice in your head that says, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Don't you? Especially for those of us who are a little older. Why are you doing this? There's other stuff you should be doing. Don't you have laundry that you need to do? Isn't there housework that needs to happen? Isn't part of the fascia board of your house rotting? And if you're listening and you don't know what fascia board is, then good for you. I'm just as happy as I could be for you. So let me tell you what you're running towards when you're drawing every day. First of all, it's practice. It's very good practice, because drawing every day, it keeps you loose, it keeps your pencil moving, and most importantly, it keeps that part of your brain constantly humming and working. Because the part of your brain where creativity comes from, and the part of your brain that actively works towards a discipline like music and performance and that sort of thing, it works even when you're not doing the thing. So, something that happens in music practice, I'm working on this lick, it's not happening, I'm just having a rough time, but I grit my teeth and do it for at least 30 minutes, and then I stop, and during the rest of the day, and I'm not thinking about it, my subconscious is, and it's still working on the problem. And if I stop playing music altogether, the subconscious will stop working on that stuff too. So when you draw every day, even for a little bit, your subconscious is constantly building what your conscious mind just did. So if you can keep drawing every day, just pick up and move the pencil a little bit, then it keeps parts of your brain active that would otherwise go inactive if it wasn't regular, if it wasn't every day. Another dirty secret is that art is a numbers game. Mozart wasn't considered one of the greatest composers ever because just anytime he sat at the chair he wrote out genius. No, Mozart was the greatest ever because he was prolific. He made a lot of music. And when you make a lot of music, it's very much a lottery situation. When you make a lot of art, because art is a lottery situation. The more art you make, the more masterpieces you'll have. It's whenever you hit upon what Mozart's day called true genius, it's actually just kind of I was giving it a shot. And if you listen to other artists talk about what hit and what didn't in terms of the art that they made, you'll always hear surprise. I can't believe people like this thing so much. I barely put any time into it. And it's because so much of art is ethereal and subjective. So it's a numbers game. The more you draw, the much more likely that you'll hit on something that is truly golden. And the less you draw, the less likely that is. So, art is a numbers game. Play the numbers, draw a lot, make a lot of art. The more art you make, the better it gets, and the better your chances of making something great get. It's a weird thing where, like, you can work hard and get really good, but, like, there's this strange cosmic chance game going on. So, draw every day, and your odds go better. It's very good for your mental health. It's therapeutic. Sitting down and making art can take, you can channel frustrations and negative energy into your art, and hooray, there you go, you've got an outlet, which is good for you. But also, it's similar to meditation. A lot of artists that I talk to, myself in particular, we don't meditate because we're too busy making art, but art fulfills kind of the same situation. Because if you can eliminate enough distractions and move your pencil enough towards any goal, you reach something akin to the Zen state when it's just you and your concentration. It's also it gives you this small sense of completion, or the small sense of satisfaction. I did a thing with my day today, and it's just nice to have that. And when you don't, man, you notice it. The biggest mental difficulties that we deal with in our times in our society is depression and anxiety. Drawing every day gives you a place to put depression and anxiety, and gives you a healthy, sustainable way to tamp those things down. For some artists, myself in particular, it's similar. Like, think of those things like depression and anxiety as monsters that are chasing you. The more art that I make, the further I run away from these artists. But if I stop making art, the monsters kind of catch up. It sounds dramatic and weird, but that's the best metaphor I can come up with. And from my art buddies that I've spoken to, it's very similar. They have a very similar situation going. So either it'll help you to run away from your monsters for a brief time, or it helps to give you a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Yeah, I drew today. I made a thing today. And even if you don't share it, even if it's not very good, you did it, and you accomplished something. And that gives you this, if you want to put it in chemical terms, it gives you a boost of serotonin. It makes you just, makes you feel more ready to conquer every other problem in your day that day. And when you go to sleep that night, so many people go to sleep thinking, just, what did I do today? What was the purpose? But if you made a little bit of art, if you did some drawing that day, it's like, I know what I did today. Especially if you've got a big long-term project like the one I've had for the past 5 years, it's comforting to know I rolled that boulder a little bit further up the hill. I am going towards something. I'm building on something, and man, that's nice. And even if you're not working on a specific project, what you can say that you're working on is a body of work. And the more you draw, the more you add to the body of work. You move the needle just a little bit. You literally make another mark on the earth. And man, that's great. That's really good for you. And that's something that you can dwell on, and that's something that can literally help you sleep at night. Quick fun fact, having a daily exercise does this for you as well. It doesn't matter what that exercise is. Maybe you just do a couple sit-ups, a couple push-ups, and maybe it's hitting the gym, maybe it's going for a short run, maybe it's just going for a short walk. 20-minute walk in some nature, man, that could be extremely good for you. So I just want to throw this out there too. It's just a gentle reminder, don't just cultivate your mental faculties, also cultivate your body a little bit. Those two things feed each other, and man, you can't remember the husk that keeps you tethered to this mortal coil, otherwise you shall shed the mortal coil. And I want you to stick around. Last but not least, in the society that we've been living in since, I want to say, the early 2000s, making art on a regular basis, it can be really good for your career because it gives you something to share. This is kind of how do I put this? This is the game that we've been playing for a while now. Kind of the way to, it's the attention economy, the way to get attention and keep it, to build an audience, to build a platform, which is kind of what you need to do if you want to be a professional artist or even a semi-pro. You gotta stay in people's... This is where I use a lot of buzzwords. You gotta stay in people's consciousness. You gotta make the art and then tell everybody about it. But the way to do it best is to be consistent and to constantly be popping up, just giving people a gentle little poke, little nudge. Hey, I'm still here. I'm still doing art. I made some art today. Here's what it looks like. Yeah, you like that? There's going to be more tomorrow. And regulating how much and how well you do that that's tough. That's a tightrope walk, but it's a thing that you can do. And there's strategies for it. There's a billion videos on YouTube on how to manage your social media. I'll go ahead and give you the quick advice. One, you don't have to share everything. Some things can be just for you. But even if it's something little, it might be worth sharing. Don't think of your stuff as like, this sucks. No. You might think it does, but the world might not. And what you're doing is just kind of putting your stuff in a place that is archived, and it's saying to yourself as much as everybody else, hey, I'm still an artist. I'm still in this game. I'm still doing this thing. And that can be really healthy. Pick the platform that works best for you. You don't have to be on all of them. If you don't want to, you don't have to be on any of them. But, that's there, and it can help. And drawing every day will definitely help you to feed that particular beast as well. Alright, cool. Those are all the good things in a nutshell as I can make them. Now let me give you some caveats. I don't draw every day. Not every day. And sometimes this is going to sound weird, but the things that count as drawing, you wouldn't think so. For the past several days, I've not drawn so much as I've been graying my comic. For those of you who don't know me, or haven't been following me for very long, I've been working on the same graphic novel series since 2013, 2014, called Purgatory Pub. And it's graphic novel, it's penciled, then inked, and then I go over it with gray markers, and then letter, and then bind it into books and bring those to market. So for the past couple of weeks, I've not been drawing. I've been sitting down with gray markers and graying over my inked artwork. So, if you think in very strict terms that drawing happens with a pencil, then the rendering stuff, which is what, adding shading and inking and that stuff, rendering in your mind doesn't count. And it took me a long time to realize and accept that, no, that counts. Like working on your art, at all physically, that counts, that works, that does what your brain needs it to do. So adding little bits of rendering to whatever you're working on, that counts as drawing every day. So there's that caveat. I don't draw every day because sometimes I just can't. Like everybody else, I've got other things going on in my life. I'm a husband, I'm a father. I work from home, which also means I'm in charge of the household during the day, and sometimes household stuff needs to get done. Home improvement projects that just can't wait and absolutely 100% have to take precedent over my drawing time. There's other little things. Sometimes instead of drawing, I've got to do an open house thing. Sometimes my wife and I just need time together, and she'll be off during the day, during my drawing time, and I'm like, you know what, pencil down. Let's you and me have a day date, and they're awesome. And sometimes I bring my pencil with me, and I'll get like a little sketching done out, but, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't draw because straight up, I shouldn't. And this is something I don't hear spoken of too often, but there's lots of artists out there who they have a warm-up sketch, and then they do their drawing work for that day, and then they have a cool-down sketch, and when they go home, after a long day of drawing, they like to relax with more drawing. And these people weird me out, and I used to think because I wasn't one of them, I didn't have what it takes to be an artist, but I also didn't realize that these people are in the minority. For most artists, for the vast majority of artists, you can't relax from arting for so long by doing more arting. So many people can relax from a full day of drawing by just drawing different stuff, and I am not one of those guys. I need time away from the drawing board. And there has been times where I just plant my butt in the chair and I'm drawing for 12 hours for days. And then at the end of that stretch, I burned out so hard I couldn't pick up a pencil for 4 weeks. And that's not okay. that's a topic for a different time. But burnout is a thing. Like in exercise, you can work a muscle so hard that maybe you don't pull it, maybe you don't mess up the muscle itself, but just you're so sore and the muscle won't work anymore and you have to stop and let it recover. That happens to your brain as well. You have to think of your brain as a muscle, something that needs to be stressed and relaxed. And so there are days, like 1 or 2 days out of every week, where I actively say pencil is down and pencil stays down. And that's okay. It's okay to have 1 or 2 days a week where you're just like, nah, I can't do it. And it's okay to have 1 or 2 days a week where it's just like, I can't because I have other things I need to do. That's all right. You're allowed to give yourself a weekend. But the trick is you need to make sure that that weekend doesn't grow too large, because then, it might grow out of control and you go from an artist taking a break to, well, I used to be an artist. And that's not okay. That's rough, and you're depriving the rest of the world of your art. It's also okay just to decide if this isn't for you. You're allowed to do that. You can pick it up and put it down as needs be, but for most of us, consistency is a very good thing to help you grow. That's kind of the key here. Is you don't have to, in capital letters, you don't have to draw every day. You just need to make sure that you draw enough days in a row and take short enough breaks in between that the subconscious that we were talking about earlier continues to work on the art. It's just enough to stay in practice, because you would think that, visual art is not a performance art, so being in physical practice isn't necessarily that important, but it is. When I'm inking, if it's been a couple days since I picked up a pencil, my inks are clunkier, and I feel it and I can see it. Not everybody else can, but I can, because I've been doing this a long time and I've got kind of a trained eye, and it's a problem. So I will, if it's been a couple days and I need to ink like a comic or client work, I will pull out a sheet of my sketchbook, what you'd see on the screen right now, and I say, okay, here's one of my sketches that I penciled. I'm going to ink it. This is going to be my practice. I'm going to put practice in the sketch pad, get my inking chops back, and then do the client work. So the most important thing is to keep drawing so you don't go out of practice. Last but not least, when somebody tells me draw every day, I think I need to make an illustration every day, or I need to pencil a comic page every day, or I need to do some grand thing to get to an area of completeness. And that's not true. That's a hang-up I've got in my head. Here's what's up. If you pull out any sort of mark-making implement and you move it around a piece of paper for 8 to 10 minutes, boom, that counts. And it's taken me a long time to realize, it took me a short time to realize it, and an even longer time to accept it, that 8 or 10 minutes at a time, that counts, man. If that's all you can do, that's all you can do. The real trick is making the time to do it. The real trick, the thing that separates the amateur from the artist, is the artist has implements ready to go, and the artist is willing to draw with whatever he or she has on hand, and whatever short period of time is allowed. Sometimes, like drinking water, sometimes you can take big gulps and sometimes you can only take little sips. It works with art. The little sips will still hydrate you. So too will the little marks help you forward as an artist. So drawing every day doesn't have to be a big grand thing. It could just be I'm making a little doodle in a note card. Me personally, I keep a miniature ballpoint pen and a sketch wallet, and I don't post those drawings, but I have them for I've got 10 minutes and this is the only drawing I'm gonna do today. So here we go, boop, 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 little ballpoint pen doodle of the people around me, and they're not good. They're not good, and they're not pretty, and me personally, I don't think that they're worth sharing, but they help me, and they keep me in practice. And it also helps me build another discipline, because, ballpoint pen, you can't go back and erase, you can't be precious, you just gotta put the marks down. So there you go. Draw every day, it's good for you. It doesn't have to be every day, but get as close to it as you are mentally and physically capable. Above all, take care of yourself, take care of your friends, and make art.